So I'm also going to be a part of the new CRT. Like I said, I'll be working with North Region. You guys are familiar with Captain Hicks. Lieutenant Bewig is going to be the new lieutenant. My sergeant is going to be Sergeant Jordan. So if you guys want to take my number down real quick.
Do you have a card?
I don't. They're still working on mine. I'm not special yet. You guys ready? It's going to be area code 839-810-4109.
And your name again?
Officer Hill.
I'll send that number out too.
Everybody go with that? Okay, so not much to report. We do have one burglary. Obviously, it happened per Richland County. I'll let SAR speak a little bit on more. It was at 3813 Lamar Street. There was a target there that had was in possession of a lot of stolen goods. Richland County had doing a search warrant. He was apprehended. So that was I'll have further speak on it. Like I said, it happened in their jurisdiction. We just assisted in support. Also, we're currently investigating a string of suspicious personnel walking through the Grand Street area. We're not sure, with very minimal information right now, we're not sure if they're even from the area, but it looks like they're targeting that specific area. They know people there. So if you see anything suspicious at night, we're looking pretty much the description will be four gentlemen, slim build, darker skin, wearing ski masks. If you see anybody walking around cars, looking at VIN numbers, looking through cars, or trying to find idling cars, anything like that, please call. You even see somebody we think they're calling somebody else to come drive through and look at stuff. So you see anything out the ordinary, somebody riding your streets 3 or 4 times at night, it's a car out the area, please call.
What street is that you saw that on?
Grand Street. Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Sunset Boulevard. It's connected to Broad Street and comes down to Warwick Avenue. It's right off of Warwick Avenue. So it's more this side. But again, the way they look like they're natives, so it's a very quiet. Honestly, that neighborhood is very quiet. For them to target that neighborhood it seems very planned out. So I'm not sure if they're going to do this somewhere else or whatnot. So we're going to be doing a crime suppression operation here coming the coming few days. So you're going to see like heavy police presence. We're going to be pulling a lot of cars. You'll probably see me walking out there in I like to walk. I'm not a real firm believer sitting in the car just driving around. I like to get on foot and hop out people. So you'll see me walking around. So even if you have to call police on me, you just see me walking around. Just do it. Don't clear it out, right? So again, we're just kind of real heavy on that. If you see anything suspicious or anybody walking around, please definitely call. Anybody questions or anything? Yes, ma'am.
Are you all aware there's someone going around stating they're from Dominican checking gas?
From Dominion checking gas?
And
No,
the person is not. They'll knock on your door and then they'll step back and want to see who's at home.
And when did this happen?
I called the office about 2 weeks ago.
And they said they're not from Dominion or anything like that, or?
Right. And they could show me a Dominican ID.
You said, do you have the date that happened?
No, I have to recall my mind. It's
Okay.
like
I said, if anybody has that trying to falsely represent something, please call us. Even if they are who they are, there's nothing.
Captain Hicks, he would know. I spoke with him.
Who?
Captain.
Okay, Hicks, perfect. Okay, I'll make sure I get with him on that. I'll definitely make sure I get with that. I will follow up with you about that. What's your have you a phone number for you?
Yes, I give it to you later.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Anything? Yes, sir.
Not related to that, but last month we talked about this house, 501 Duke. They're at the corner of Duke and Abington.
The parking.
Yeah, they're parking. No, it's not parking.
They're parking on the street.
Yeah.
So we towed 3 of them. It's only the tow truck.
I don't think it's the same house.
Oh, no.
So you can't.
What's that?
You can't see the oncoming traffic. To see the oncoming traffic, you got to pull out in the road.
What's the
It's at the corner of Duke and Abington, 501.
I'm not sure. That's what's the block range of the having.
They can park on the side of their house and would block the view, but you can't see the oncoming traffic. There's going to be an accident there eventually.
Definitely.
Actually, it's usually 2 or 3 cars
that where the tow truck is?
Yeah, we're working on the tow truck. The issue with the tow truck is that, whatever it grabs, we bought three different tow trucks came out there and they cannot pick it up. It's something, there's not enough oil in it, so we gotta call a record as to come out.
Do we know what's going on at that house?
He's just a mean gentleman that just likes to work on cars right in front of his house.
Look, there's oftentimes bunches of people hanging
Yeah,
out.
I think it's a party animal. I think he just
regular gang.
interesting gentleman. It's the best, nicest words I can say about him. Interesting gentleman. Not a fan of him. Not a fan. But he's been, I think he has over like $3,000 in citations right now, so he's not very happy about that. And all his cars been towed. So we're trying to figure out the tow truck or the tow truck thing now. Every car that comes out there, our anytime tow truck comes out there, they say it's unsafe to tow it. They're out there physically drag it down the street with the thing dangling. So I think we have to get a record or something. So we're trying to find a company that's going to come out and not charge us to tow it. So we're trying to figure that out currently.
One thing I had was, our folks over here at Hyde Park, the staff that works there, y'all probably aware, but there's been just issues of people during the day and night drinking and smoking on the property. The staff often goes, in the park, shoos them away as best they can. And they have called the police apparently several times. So I know y'all have gone out and responded, but if y'all could step up patrols maybe, especially around certain times that they are out there. I assume they're just teens and stuff, so I don't think anybody wants to. The rest of it, they just want them to be just kind of off the property, if they want to go drink at home, whatever, but, yeah, so that's a little issue the park staff can deal with.
We'll solve that. Any other questions, concerns, anything? No?
Thank y'all, sir.
No problem.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming. No problem.
County?
All right, how's everybody doing?
Good.
All right, all right. So, like I can tell you guys every meeting, all your 911 calls are gonna come to the city. Your community is in the city of Columbia, so you guys are blessed to have them respond to all your 911 calls. But that doesn't stop me from being in the area patrolling around. Earlier today, I had a car chase that went kind of in your area, went Ridgewood, Barony, right there. We turned on Elliott and drove down Toll and came up Lakeside, made loops around there, and then he took Brickyard all the way around down to Blue Ridge Terrace when he finally just gave up. He ended up being a felon in possession of ammunition, so he ended up going to jail. So my main focus when I'm riding around here is looking for guns and dope. That's what I'm trying to find. Okay, in Richland County, most of our crimes are either connected to guns or connected to drugs in some kind of way. All right, either somebody's using guns to commit the crime, or somebody's trying to buy drugs from somebody, and they get mad because the person that they bought the drugs from didn't give them enough. They paid for more than they got, and now they got mad. Now they got to give them back. Right? So that's what I'm out here trying to prevent. All that kind of violent crime, and just keeping you guys safe, so you guys can sleep good at night and not have to worry about toting guns and carrying drugs all through your area. So if y'all see me, that's basically what I'm riding around looking for, trying to find people who are up and no good. All right, some crime trends that I want to pass along right quick before I let Sergeant Pearson finish up. Auto break-ins. People like to say they spike during the summer because kids are out of school, but from what I'm seeing, that's like a year-round thing. People breaking cars all year round, whether it's hot, cold, spring, fall, don't matter. All right, so do us a favor and do yourself a favor and don't leave anything valuable in your car at all. I know we get up here every month saying the same thing, but we got to keep reiterating it because people keep doing it. Right? My uncle's a pastor, and he said I will stay on this sermon topic until y'all hear it. All right, and y'all actually do it. Right? So kind of that same deal. Okay, just don't leave anything in your car. I keep saying that. Sound like a broken record, but you're here, and I know Hyde Park got a whole lot of other houses than people in here, so a lot of people not at this weekend. So if you can please pass that word along, anybody who owns guns, don't leave them in your car, okay? Please don't leave them in your car, because people are going around pulling on door handles, trying to find unlocked cars with guns in them. And believe it or not, they are very successful 85 to 90% of the time. All right, every neighborhood they go into, you can count on 10 or 11 cars in the neighborhood being unlocked with guns in it. All right, so being a firearm owner takes a great deal of responsibility on the firearm owner's part. All right, and with the new gun law, you can be 18 or older, carry a firearm without any training. All right, you don't need any training. As long as you're 18 or older, you can legally have a gun. All right, and a lot of people don't want to pay for it, or they're felons and they can't have guns, but they still want to carry them anyway, which puts us at a disadvantage because all you gotta do is be 18 or older and carry a gun and not be a felon, right? But can you look at somebody and tell they're a felon? No. You don't know what somebody went to prison for or if they even been to prison, right? So it's putting us at a disadvantage because unless we talking to you, we don't know if you're a felon. You don't really have to be truthful, you can lie. So unless we run your information, right, we're not gonna know. So people are taking advantage of this new law where you're 18 or older and you can carry a gun. So everybody trying to get their hands on one now. Because like you gotta be committing a crime for us to even approach you if you got one, right? So as long as you just carrying it like you know, like a normal person, you can be a felon, and as long as you act normal when you're cool under pressure, you'll be good. So people are trying to take advantage of that. All right. So just help us help you guys and not be a victim of an auto break-in. All right. One other thing I want to pass on: keep your yards lit at night. I know everybody love to get a good night's sleep, but my wife got these blackout curtains that she bought from Target, and they were wonders. All right. I don't even know when it's 6 o'clock in the morning the time to get up because it's still dark in there. All right. So get some of those, but light your yard up. All right, because in the county, people aren't committing crimes in neighborhoods that are well lit. They go to neighborhoods that don't have good lighting, neighborhoods where they know people don't have cameras on their houses because they want to get away with the crime. Who want to commit a crime in a yard that's well lit? You're going to get a better chance of being seen, right? So light up a yard, make sure you got functioning cameras around your house. Ring doorbells are good, but your house has like 4 corners. So if you financially possible, get some cameras on all 4 sides. That'll help you and your neighbor out. All right. Any other questions? That's all the crime tips I got. Anybody got any questions? All right.
All right, after that, I ain't not gonna say a word. I don't wanna hold you.
Yeah.
You covered everything, so I'm just gonna be quiet. I just good to just listen in, unless y'all have anything to say.
What exactly took place on Lamar?
He mentions about a burglary. I thought Lamar was in the city. I didn't know it was in there. I thought it was in the county, but apparently it's being investigated by investigation. So pretty much, I think they know the suspects.
It was a daytime break-in?
Yeah, I believe so. Mostly burglaries are daytime.
Actually, there was a SWAT team there.
Yeah, that's the reason why the SWAT team was there, because they knew who the suspects are.
Okay.
Sometimes
The burglary didn't occur there. The burglaries occurred.
Occur somewhere. They
I
probably
think they brought the stuff home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times we don't talk about those types of investigations until the fact that it's being investigated, we don't try to put information out. So kind of keep it on the. Yeah, we got the SWAT team out there kicking, not kicking the door in, but serving the warrant, they already know what's on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when the investigation is done, come back and report us what took place.
Well, I want to answer that the right way. You know, there's a lot of things that are being investigated like that. You know, those things have to go through the system, the court system. And we don't like to put too much information out in public, but we don't know who's sitting in the audience that's going back and telling whatever. So we have to be very cautious how we talk about stuff like that. If it's serious enough to have a SWAT team out there serving warrants, it's serious enough to be quiet.
And also, the people that they're picking up, 9 times out of 10, they're connected to other burglaries in the county. So they kind of like us to be vague about when we tell who the suspects are and what they're all connected to, because 9 times out of 10, if they're breaking into a house on one side of the county, then they probably did it in Lexington, probably did it in Kershaw, probably did it in Orangeburg, coming back to Columbia to do it again. So you'll be surprised, especially crimes like that, even drugs, guns, burglaries, all kind of stuff. The people go different places to commit the crimes and then come back. Once they spend a little time away from this area, they'll come back to this one. So it's all connected, right?
Well, is there any concern about safety in the neighborhood because
Absolutely
of that?
not. No, absolutely not.
So a lot of times when you turn the TV on and you look at the 5 o'clock news, 11 o'clock news, if it's serious enough to put on the news, they only going to share only a brief, give you a little bit about it. They're not going to tell you everything because you can't investigate. I think 8 years.
Yeah, all right, y'all take care. See you next month.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Pearson and Deputy Salmon. Appreciate y'all coming. y'all haven't had a chance, there's a sign-in sheet in front, y'all all here? There's a sign-in sheet in front and an agenda up there for y'all to follow along. I'm gonna get to a couple announcements, before we get to our kind of main business. Barbara, you wanna talk about the new, Little Free Library in your area?
Well, we have a new, free library on our block, it's at the corner of, Wildwood and Ridgewood. So come on, see it.
I think that makes 4 in our neighborhood, which is kind of great, I wish we had one on every block, it's kind of a neat little program. Let's see, this isn't so much of an announcement, but, I did get to go, I was asked to be the guest speaker at Seminary Ridge's neighborhood meeting the other day, and, we did a scholarship for a camper at the High Park camp here recently. Our neighborhood association sponsored a shop. That shop's grandmother was at the meeting, and she just wanted to thank everyone profusely for sponsoring her grandson. She said the grandson's thrilled about it. Is enjoying the camp this summer. I just wanted to thank all of us for sponsoring her grandson to go to the camp. So just want to pass that along to everybody. Speaking of High Park, Tamika, do you want to tell us what's going on in High Park this month?
This month. Nothing this month, but summer camp.
Summer camp, all right. Yeah, all right, thank you. All right, I'm going to skip ahead, actually something in our new business. We have a couple guests actually that came, so I actually don't have much information on this. I'm going to let Lyman introduce these folks that are going to talk about property on North Main. Lyman, do you want to come share?
I guess everybody's seen down at Sunset in North Main, there's a real estate sign on both the old Skibo Newman Phillips 66 gas station. It's available, been available for several years. And there are two commercial realtors are here tonight who represent the owners selling the property. And we were contacted about a month ago by Tina Herbert, who asked that I would speak with John and Bill about the plan for redeveloping the property. And I think, and I'm going to introduce them and ask them to come up and talk a little bit about what they think the plans for the property are. And this is kind of a heads up for us. A lot of times we sort of hear about it when it's on its way to the planning commission or on the way to zoning adjustment or something, and we're asked to vote that we can show up or whatever. So there isn't anything like that going on here. This is really out front and really asking to, as a neighborhood, you know, what do we see? What do we want? What kinds of things do we think would work on that corner? And more generally, with Mayor Rickaman becoming the mayor and having Councilwoman Herbert as our council person, there's a big push to look for development opportunities up the North Main corridor. We spent all this money on this new street, all the cables, smart, it's underneath, no power line up above, looks beautiful. We have all these empty and underused pieces of property, empty or are we talking down? So we have an opportunity to be involved in the conversation about, you know, what do we want? What's it gonna look like, you know, 5, 10, 20 years from now? And so I've asked John and Bill to talk a little bit about what they've done in the interaction with city economic development and a recent meeting that the city convened for property owners and real estate developers. So, John, are you gonna be the one to come up, or Bill also? Come up. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank y'all. Good evening. Just want to appreciate Lyman for having us. Just want to introduce ourselves. John Gregory and Bill Lamar. Yeah, we're with NAI Columbia. So have the block have the corner at Sunset and North Main listed for sale. It used to be, I learned from Basil, that was old Skibo Newman's Phillips 66 just tonight that I didn't know his name was Skibo, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, we don't have anything going on it yet. We're just here to introduce ourselves, get ideas from y'all. You know, the property currently is zoned CAC in the city, which is Community Activity Center. And it's part of the North Main Overlay District, North Main, Business Overlay District, if y'all are familiar with that overlay. And so it's got some additional architectural design requirements, particularly like as it relates to how the property looks from the street, facade, that sort of thing, lot coverage ratios, all those details. And we've had some interest from folks, we'll get into that, but just wanted to introduce ourselves. Bill was at the meeting a couple weeks ago, I'm letting him give some insight into that.
Yeah.
Just get y'all's opinion, that's what we're here for.
So yeah, John, you know, one of the main reasons John and I are here is because we've been very proactive in trying to get out in front of, it looks like there's been some challenges in the past, with that property. And, you know, with Richland County Columbia Economic Development, we had a city meeting here. There were Spencer Green, Grace Salter, Ryan Coleman. There was all these people from the city economic development here at this meeting, which was great for this area. We had zoning here. As John said, there is pretty much 2 overlays with the community activity center, and then there's a neighborhood activity center. All this goes back to zoning, you know, trying to get more pedestrian. What they're trying to do is get more pedestrian walking in here, more shops, more retail, more things of that nature. As John said, you know, even it comes down to what does the building look like? Architecture-wise, where's the building placed on the lot? Trying to get it more up front. And then even to the point of drive-throughs, more sit-down dining type things. Lyman has, you know, talked about more gathering places for the neighborhood. So with that meeting, and then of course our meeting with Lyman, you know, it's great to kind of get, all right, what do we go after? You know, who do we really start to target for that particular parcel? And since these meetings, you know, John and I have been on the phone with multiple, either national concepts, whether it's coffee, whether it's restaurant. Talked with Spencer and Grace numerous times since this meeting about possible restaurant uses there. The great thing about Columbia right now is, you know, there's so many national chains out there that we all hear, you know, whether it's Burger King, McDonald's, QSRs, fast casual, I mean, you name it. The most interesting thing I think now in Columbia is you are finally hearing more smaller regional chains, and not even chains, maybe they have 3 or 4 restaurants in the entire Southeast, but all of a sudden now they want to be in Columbia, which is pretty neat. You know, you go to Charleston, you go to Charlotte and Greenville, some of these other cities, and with the great migration of people that are now moving to the south, which we're also great, you're truly seeing some very different type of food concepts, which I think is pretty neat. So anyway, kind of got off tangent there. We are starting to bird dog those. We are starting to pinpoint some of those. We know some of the developers in town that have these relationships already. So we've been on the phone with them, basically putting that site back on their radar to say, hey, look, you know, the city of Columbia is being a little bit more lenient on zoning. There are some better uses for this. It's in a great area, great community activity center. And the city wants more out here, coming out North Main. So I think the city is willing to participate and help get some of that done, especially in economic development. So I'm sorry I got long. But yeah, that's how the meeting went. I think the city's been very proactive in this area, you know, in recent months. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just to supplement that a little bit, I thought that was very well said, just for some, you know, overarching theme of what we're trying to do, and want to turn it over to y'all for questions, comments, so we can try to use that when we go out talking to people. But what sort of sparked all this is we have had a couple specific uses reach out, like a Jeremiah's Frozen Custard or a Dunkin' Donuts that were interested in that corner. But the Community Activity Center zoning only allows drive-throughs, well, I'll get to that in a second, only allows drive-throughs for, personal services. So what are personal services? So we asked the zoning staff in the city, what is that? So that's like bank branch or dry cleaning or pharmacy, but it does not include restaurants. It doesn't even include coffee shops. So that's gonna kill, like, that doesn't, Dunkin' Donuts, especially since COVID, more of these type operations wanna have a drive-through. So that's when we reached out to Councilwoman, Herbert and Bustles, and, they said, yeah, we need to come meet with the neighborhood to consider that. So the idea that we maybe had, and it might not, we might hear y'all's feedback tonight and not pursue that, but the idea was, okay, what is still the most, what still gives the neighborhood and community the most say if we were to pursue a rezoning? And Regional Activity Center would allow a drive-through for restaurants, but only with a special exception. So I'm chairman of the Board of Zoning Appeals. So I was chairing the case when the Circle K wanted to go across the street, and we didn't vote for that because the community came out and y'all made a good case, and proliferation carried the day. So we listened to y'all, and did not allow that use. Now, if that were to come up on this particular parcel, I would have to recuse myself just because I'm involved with it. But just familiar with that process, and so the Regional Activity Center is still the most restrictive zoning there is. It's basically the next zoning up, if y'all are familiar with the zoning code. And that would allow it, but again, with a special exception. So it's still not outright permitted, it is only conditionally permitted. And any user would have to go in front of that Board of Zoning Appeals with a plan. And, certainly sitting on those, though, we like to have the communities, for the most part, buy in on something before we grant special exceptions. So y'all may still say, no, we don't want that at all, because the risk you take with the rezoning is that, in theory, is it goes with the land, not with the use. But if we had a particular use in mind that came through that y'all like, maybe y'all would listen to it. But again, those are the uses that have come to mind looking at it. Coffee. Certainly, if it was a coffee, we would not be targeting those newer coffee chains like a Scooters or 7 Brew, where it's purely just a drive-through. I mean, that to us doesn't add any value to the community. The Starbucks on Taylor Street that they just built, where they actually have a sit-down area and they're marketing that as a community sort of gathering place. That is more the idea that we would have in mind if that type of rezoning were to happen. So with that being said, that's definitely not on the table yet, but if y'all were receptive to it, we could go back to some of those uses and say, hey, look, the community's open to it. Y'all might still want to come to the next meeting and talk about the idea, but we don't want to cross that bridge until Bill and I came up and introduced ourselves and just gave y'all some background on what we're trying to do. So with that being said,
Yeah.
you got anything to add, Officer Hope?
I just had a question about parking, because it seemed like a small lot.
Yep.
And I just wonder if there's enough parking space there for something like, say, a little Starbucks.
Yeah, great question. The lot's 0.57 acres, so parking's all gonna be dependent on the square footage and the use. So depending on how big, the building was, that's gonna be governed by code. So, yes, sir.
What about environmental concern, being a former gas station, what's we looking at there?
We have, some DHEC letters, no further action letters from DHEC. So if anybody wants to see that stuff, we can certainly turn that
The
over.
tanks are on, all this stuff going.
Yeah, so fortunately, yeah, all that's gone. Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of parking, the little church next door uses that lot whenever they have things like funerals for parking. Has the church expressed any interest in perhaps what they would like
Just a
there,
quart.
or what they would not like there? Or
Not to me. I
they're
don't know.
interested in?
We can reach out to them, certainly.
I mean, they did a great job with rehabilitating their building, and they plant flowers, they do good landscaping, so, I mean, that might be something to look at, because they do use it for parking.
How much is the property?
445.
I don't think the church can afford it. They can afford it. They can.
And that's what we're asking, I mean,
Let's start to reach
yeah.
out. I think that's a great idea.
They would have to,
Probably should have already done that. I didn't know they used it for parking.
they do, for funerals and things like that.
Out of all the things, the businesses on that block, both directions, there are very few businesses that most of us use. It would be really nice to have something that we would benefit from.
And that's why we're here, that's why we're discussing
There's, like, we're not going to the Title I place and the Providence Home, or, there just isn't much, there's a bakery, I don't know much about it.
It's a good thing.
It's
a-
fantastic.
That's
It's excellent.
There's nothing really in that space.
Stop in for a sandwich.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
We can't, we
Yeah.
can't dictate what goes there, I mean, on the money, but it is, that's the reason we were talking to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We would like to see something that benefits y'all just as much, because then it gets you in our favor, and then we can move along with the transaction.
What sort of thing fits on a half an acre? What sort of businesses in your experience?
Yeah, good question.
I mean, I will say this about parking, so they did bring that up in the city meeting. They have relaxed, the city of Columbia has relaxed, so you have per square foot, you need to have so many parking spaces. So this community activity center, they have relaxed some of that, so it's not as stringent as it used to be.
So the
So-
building can have a bigger footprint, you can have less parking.
You have less parking, but you have to.
Go in and keep them in business, or, because we don't, because, well, on the one hand, it's like we're talking about drive-through, and I'm thinking, well, now, how is that gonna contribute to foot traffic? And getting people out there
Because most businesses today, they rely on the drive-through.
on the drive-through.
They really do. Now, to have a seating area, whether it's outside or inside, you can have both there, I think helps, but, in today's world, especially on the restaurant side of things, I came from that world years ago, and, if you want to survive, at least in that QSR type, fast casual kind of world, you really need to try.
But that, I mean, that's what's right for this
And,
property. That's
and
what
this
we're
may
here.
be totally, there may be a restaurant that doesn't even go in there. It may be, to your point, it may be a service-oriented type business that goes in there. We just don't know at this point.
One question for that specific issue. So you mentioned at Dunkin' Donuts, and two things about that. One is, you mentioned earlier, if you have a rezoning, it goes with the property, not with the use. So that would mean that if that didn't happen, if they got the rezoning, but then they decided not to build, it could be a McDonald's, or it could be
Or if
whatever business
if there was a Dunkin' Donuts in 10 years from now,
you got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like they left.
It would just stay there, and that would always be.
Yeah.
And specifically with that issue, I know for businesses like Dunkin' Donuts and Chick-fil-A, they're extremely busy, especially certain times of the day. And I know, like, the Dunkin' Donuts on Millwood Avenue in Divine, that actually has like a traffic issue that kind of, it literally is often a line out the property. It's seeming like if it's on a small lot, I mean, is there a way to account for that, or is that just up to the business?
Yeah, I mean, that's where, and Bill brought up a good point about the city less on the parking stuff. So to someone's question about parking, like per code, that might not be as big a deal, but a business, the real estate folks that help make these decisions for these businesses, that's what they're taking into account when they go and look at sites. So that will certainly kill the site for certain businesses because it's just too small and can't handle it. But others that could potentially, I mean, that's what we're here to try to figure out. I mean, if we knew, we probably, we might not be here right now. So we're trying to come up with ideas.
We're relying on business that's gonna need parking like any of us. If you go somewhere, you can't find a parking place, you're gonna go somewhere else. You're only gonna go around that building a couple of times and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
People like instant gratification now,
Especially that location, because once you pass it, it's hard to really get back to it.
Yeah.
So,
Right in, right out, that's what it will be.
yeah, you're not gonna be able to make a left into it from
Right in, right out.
Sunset. You won't be able to make a left into it from North Main.
Yeah, I can tell you a few things
Seafood was there for a couple of years, and it was a very good meeting place. It closed down.
And
I'm
Hawk
not
was
sure
still
the
right there in
reason.
that corner too.
So, I can tell you about a store that I'd love to see, and I don't know if that spot's appropriate because of the size of it. But in Winston-Salem, there's something called Washington Perks, and it's kind of a little bit of everything. They started out downtown, they started out in the suburbs, and they moved into town, so they've got 2 spots. Started out with coffee and desserts, added groceries, and I don't mean high-end groceries, I mean groceries that people need. They have a little hardware section, a little pet section, a refrigerated section. There's a little bit of everything in their seating area in there. I'd love to see something like that in our neighborhood.
Kind of like a little general store.
Yeah, a little generous, a little bit dated, but with a little bit of everything. But we are missing, you know, First Citizens closed down, the Bank of America closed down. We don't have a bank within how far? I mean, I can't even tell you.
Downtown,
Yeah. And I was so outraged, I wrote board when First Citizens closed. Of course, I didn't care, but I wrote them anyway.
Yeah, and banks, I mean, that use would be allowed with the drive-through right now, so that's considered a personal service, and that would be allowed. I mean, as y'all probably know, banks, their business models have just changed, and you're seeing bank branches close down.
Yeah.
Well, once you go in, that way,
I know, it costs them money for us to come.
My
Yes,
other
ma'am.
concern with personal services is like Ellen just said, the bank just closed at Wood Forest. We just had a pharmacy close next to Wood Forest. And so while it might be a good idea to put a personal services, thing right there, the ones that we had were already being underutilized, or maybe they didn't have enough foot traffic or so forth. And then, I agree with Ty on the issues of Dunkin' Donuts at Millwood, but because we live so closely to the hospital, I do think it would be interesting to find a food or retail style thing. Tropical Smoothie seems to always have folks there. And,
Yeah.
you know, back in the day, it was always some sort of eatery around here for the medical folks, so.
Yeah, and that would be, yeah, that's certainly a big selling point, is just having all the staff from the hospital. But for any eatery, we would have to get that rezoning. So, yes, sir.
Time frame.
It kind of does, we can keep going the road we're going and try to target some of these uses that would not need a drive-through. And, you know, some of these, I think, I'm gonna look at that, you said Washington Perks, I mean, that sounds like a really neat concept. You know, you gotta find a business that will do that there. But, so we could keep going the route we're going, which has been sitting on the market, I think, a couple of years, a couple agents had it before us. Or we can try to see if there's a eatery use that y'all like that, we can go after, but would need that rezoning. And then we could still have the most restrictive rezoning to go to that would allow it is that Regional Activity Center, which is RAC. And an eatery would still have to get a special exception. So that, it's not like that zoning would outright permit it. Someone would still have to go in front of Board of Zoning Appeals to get the special exception, which would give y'all another opportunity to come up and talk and express your concerns or approval for it. Yes, ma'am?
One more question, and then we gotta,
I don't think we've heard from you. Go ahead.
I was just, interested to find out, what about where Sonic used to be, that would be a large enough space, to build, instead of looking at Philip, where his, service station used to be, you could put a restaurant with parking, so you have plenty of parking, because that's a large lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you all thought about that lot?
A little bit. We don't have that one listed for sale, but, that lot's been certainly brought to our attention by Mr. Munson, and that is, yeah, the Derbyshire family that owns that. They own, how many of those check title places? Like 60?
I think they got 80 check cashers.
Yeah.
They got a lot of them.
Very
So-
challenging. Who I shipped is peace.
It'd be nice to get to do something with it. I mean, me and Bill are both from Columbia, born and raised. We'd love to see that.
Because it's much harder to reach, like you're saying, you can do a lot more with it yourself.
Do a nice restaurant, and you have parking in front of that, because it's large enough.
You could do a little village concept there, like 2 or 3 different.
But I think, back to the zoning piece, I mean, that was the reason the city of Columbia had this meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to see these vacant lots with more progress, new updated businesses come, and so that was the reason for the meeting.
Well, I want to thank y'all for coming.
Yeah.
And this is always helpful when we have folks come and speak with us first, and then we can work together.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we just, I'll say,
Sure.
stick in contact with y'all, and if you don't mind, just for a few more minutes, it sounds like there's might be some more questions. If anyone wants to, ask Mr. Gregory, Mr. Millar, even, some more questions, just come do it to the side while we finish up the rest of our business, our meeting. Thank y'all so much for coming. Like I said, if you have anything else you wanna ask them, let's just do that to the side, so we can get to the rest of our business, but that was a very productive conversation, and good to see that there's developers interested in, our part of town too. Always excited about new development in our area. Speaking of, let's go through some, neighborhood association business real quick. Have you got a chance to look at the minutes? I sent them out via email this morning. Do you have any corrections or additions or subtractions to the minutes? All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? So moved, second. Thank you. Barry, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it, the minutes from, May are adopted, thank you all. Let's see, I don't have the treasurer here, but I do have a very short treasurer's report. Let me pull it up. Okay, we have a current bank balance of $5,513.66. That is from recent income of $2,200 from grant checks. So, the budget's a little inflated at the moment, but those grant checks are slated for a particular purpose. And I'll get to those in a second. Any questions about the treasurer's report? I'll say too, we also, if you have a chance, please go, you can either get your dues to me, I'll give them to the treasurer, or you can pay them now online. If you need a link, I'll send that back out. It's also in every email I've sent you in the last about 5 months. There's a link there at the bottom. You can go pay your dues online that way. All right, let's see. I'll do membership committee, Mimi.
Well, hi, everybody. One of the grants that we have, will feed those ideas we had earlier in the year about, doing like hot dogs and ice cream to try to move people back into the association. Some of it is for some garden stuff. Janika has agreed to let her kids at the camp, care for the garden behind the gym. So yeah, if we want to put a date on the calendar, Ty, I can start, like if we want to do post 4th of July, I can start to, gather a little ad hoc committee supplies.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
Any questions for Mimi? Mimi, thank you for getting that grant stuff done. I know it was a rush through the last minutes, I know it always is, but you came through, got there, thank you, appreciate that. And, I don't know, it's gotten a bit hot, but maybe if we wanna plan like a porch party or something too, or is that what you're referring to?
Either or.
Yeah.
Cause that was the idea that we had, earlier in the year was to make it larger and a more public space.
Yeah, well, if we're gonna do the, indoor facilities, yeah, summer would be a good time to do that, obviously, so
Yeah.
that might be a good time to pull that off, so.
Okay, I'll reach out to, the business office that helped us last time.
Great. And, Mimi also got us, I'm sure she told y'all before, community grant for community garden, we've been working on that. All right, so I've been seeing the emails, I haven't done anything. Mimi has been dealing with the federal government and making sure that grant money comes in, so any other update about that though?
Yeah, they gave us an extra $1,000 just for maintenance. They came by with USDA on Friday and were really impressed. Their only ask is if we could try to get some of the kids at the camp involved, which I told them we were already working on that. And, the guy was funny, he was like, can y'all grow some okra? But other than that, he didn't have anything else to say.
Great job on that, and, just adding to our portfolio of gardens and around the neighborhood, so, we really got that built up. All right, let's go to, National Night Out. Pat?
We have seven confirmed for business already, and, we're good on that.
All right, what's the date of it again?
October 1, 2014.
All right, October 1. Yeah, I'll put that on the calendars. Pat's throwing a party, so, yeah. Well, and she's been working hard on that, and you got all the help you need too from other members?
Yeah, I got, David, and then, Jenny, and several other people, and they'll Mr. Basil. So we're good.
All right, sounds like y'all got things rolling. Appreciate y'all's hard work on that, and we're looking forward to that event. All right, beautification, Jamie, also in the back.
I want to report to the organization that our sign at Main and Middle Street has been stolen. I don't know if anyone recognized that.
Yeah, if y'all didn't see, and I put it on Facebook, Miss Gail, was driving by today. Gail and her husband had just gone to clean it, so they went out and cleaned it for us, which was very nice. And within a few days of that, it was, we assume stolen. I don't know what somebody would want to do with a neighborhood sign that's specific to one neighborhood. There's another Hyde Park around here. But they did take our sign, or somebody did. I've looked around the property or area. I don't see it anywhere. It's not like it blew off. Or if y'all see a square white and blue sign that says Hyde Park and has our logo on it, please let us know. I filed a police report. I have not heard from the police about it. I informed Tina Herbert. Tina Herbert asked to make sure the city didn't take it or something like that, and she can't find any indication that happened. So if y'all hear any information, let Janie or myself know if y'all have any information about the neighborhood sign being stolen. Pat?
I forgot to mention that Mr. Lee has a bouncy house for the kids. He said he did a bouncy house for the kids. So that's not that.
Fantastic. All right.
At the intersection that we were concerned with at Abington and Sunset, I think we're gonna have to hold off on that until the construction of Sunset is being worked on, and they already have stakes in that same area that was going to do some cleanup on. So the code enforcement person is supposed to be talking with the highway department or the people who's doing the sidewalks on Sunset to find out whether they're going to cut into that area to see whether we can get that area cleaned up on completion of the sidewalk. And so we just gotta hold off until they complete that.
All right. Thank you, Janie. Any questions for Janie or Pat? All right. And Hyde Park Committee, I don't think there's a report at this moment, but we are working with the city. We're going to try to kind of play the long game about getting more funding for the park and all that. That's ongoing. We'll get to the rest of that about the Hyde Park stuff here in a minute. We'll get to our new business, but I don't think the committee has met. All right, I just want to report a few things. So in our new business, list of new business, I forgot to put this on, but last meeting, the residents of Miles Avenue requested that the city do a traffic study. I've sent that request to the city. I've not heard back, so I'm just waiting. We'll see what they say about that. The Hyde Park sign was stolen, as Janie said. We've already gone through that. Let's see. All right, and we've already talked about the North Main property. That was the one we just had the developers here to talk about. We've got through that. All right, Lorick Avenue, which is something we talked about a lot here this meeting. All right, so on Lorick Avenue, and I don't know that street very well myself, but off of Lorick Avenue, where it meets with, I think, Medical Drive. Is anybody familiar with that?
In West Avenue.
In West Avenue? Okay. So it's kind of wedged between what we think would one day be a brewery and 277 and the railroad track and all that. There's that property wedged off of Sunset that backs up to Lorick Drive. There's a large piece of property. It's up on a hill. A developer from Texas has come in and they want to build, someone remind me if some of y'all looked at this as well. I think it's 6 apartment buildings, like not huge, but like, it's an apartment development, 6 separate buildings. It's one of those where it'll have parking and then, no garage or anything, just to walk up to it. It's 144 units. It is not low income housing, but it is reduced income housing. So you would need to make approximately 60% of the median area income to qualify to live there, to rent. They went in front of the Planning Commission earlier this week. I apologize for not giving y'all more advance notice. I didn't find out about it until last week. But I talked to the developers and I talked to the city about the project and shared that with our neighborhood executive officers. I don't personally have any concerns with the project. We didn't have a ton of concern. Lyman and Pat and some other neighbors did express some concern about telling the city that we are concerned about any new apartments and more homes or residents come to the area without there being any grocery stores. Lyman, do you want to speak on that at all?
Does everybody know where this is?
No.
Behind that budget hotel, right?
Yes.
So you know, when you go over Laura Avenue, cross over the tracks on the right is Latimer, Manor. There's a piece of land behind that goes up to the medical drive, and that's this big piece. It's right behind the Sands. Is where it is. You went behind the Sands building, you come up on this, or you go to Latimer Manor. And what stood out for me was there are no services. There's nothing. You know, somebody's going to walk. How far do they have to walk to get to someplace where there's some kind of service? And so I had this idea that the planning process should include, what are we going to do with these people now that you put an apartment building here? Is it going to be a bus? Is it going to be, how are they going to transport? When they do transport, where are they going to go to? We're in the food desert. And I just thought it should be part of the Planning Commission review of that, and apparently it isn't. But the Planning Commission only recommends an approval. City Council does this. This isn't Boza, where Gregory and his associates down there make law. They make a zoning exception, and that's the law. But the Planning Commission only recommendation. So if we have a sense that city should consider the holistic part of the development, I think we need to say something to them. And I think there was a conversation over the weekend to say, well, how could you get a grocery store before you have an apartment building? Well, that's the chicken or the egg, cart before the horse. Latimer Manor is sitting over there, and what they do is they walk across the railroad tracks and come up Elmore, and they go to the Sunoco. That's the only C-store they have. They have to cross the tracks, come up through the woods, and do that. And this would be on the far side of Latimer. So they have to walk through Latimer Manor, cross the tracks, come up Elmwood.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I appreciate that, Lyman, but a grocery store is a private business, and I don't see where city council has the really capacity or authority to do that. And we have had grocery store people here before who have told us that you wrote about this, the chicken and the egg, but that it has something to do with also the population of the area. So my personal feeling is we desperately need housing, and housing that is affordable or near affordable. So I hope that you're not going to oppose it. I hope that's not what you're saying, because I just feel that.
I'm not saying I'm opposing it. What I'm saying is that we should be more inclusive in the planning process.
Yeah, but.
And so we have these elected officials, and they say, oh, this is CAC. This has this use. We got Sam sitting there, and Prisma uses it as a warehouse. I mean, the city could be a little more proactive and say, why don't we have a pop-up grocery there? We do this mobile thing. We got all this. They got all kinds of ideas. Why don't they include?
Why on earth have they not let Food Share have a corner in there?
Say again.
Why have they not let Food Share have a corner in that massive building?
I don't know.
Because they are the ones who sponsor Food Share. That doesn't make any sense. Food Share's been running around to different places.
Right.
All this time. They can't keep on the case.
Well, let me just clarify.
Anyway, so there's a, within this conversation going on about what we think we want, good development. And that's what I had said to those guys. You heard they said we want good development, we want what the community wants and all this. They're listening to us. And the idea of the Circle K did not get in. They were listening. He was the chairman. He would have voted for it.
Yeah,
but somebody else didn't.
What about the grocery store? All these folks right here gotta go way out to the grocery store. Why you can't put a grocery store down there? Anybody talking about no grocery store?
They can't put a grocery store.
Anywhere, I don't care where it is.
They're not gonna put it because of what happened, like what happened at Bilo and Save-A-Lot, the amount of theft and shoplifting.
That's everywhere.
It isn't.
Yeah, it is.
But it's everywhere. It's like
Well, let me I'll just bring us back though, that's one other conversation we're gonna have to have another time, but we had it at nauseam, but I do wanna clarify about this specific development. It was going in front of the planning commission on Wednesday. What it was going in there for is anytime you have a major piece of property being developed, like an apartment complex, that's what's called a major site plan review, so that's what the planning commission was looking at. I did talk to Lyman, and the planning commission did approve it. What they were looking at was traffic, whether it's the building sizes and all that were appropriate for the area, and how many people would be in that spot and all that. And according to the developer, and according to the city staff person that works with the planning commission, this type of thing, a major site plan review, does not have to go to city council. So city council won't get a vote on this one. So the developer has already got the approval from the planning commission. It's within the zoning regulations, so it's not going in front of BOZA. And I don't believe it's in the Main Street corridor either, so it won't go in front of DDRC. So they can start getting permits now. So now that's approved. So that's what we have.
Council will vote on it if they approve it.
Council will not vote on it. The council will not vote on it. They said for major site plan reviews, council does not vote. That's what the developer said and what the city staff person said. So they have no plans to go in front of city council with the major site plan review. Now it's been approved, they're gonna get building permits. So construction should start next year. Yeah, that's what they said. That's all I have for that. You know, like I said, I don't know, and I think I take Betsy's point, I don't think we have a legal reason, nor does council have a legal reason to oppose it or anything like that. Although I do think we need to talk to our city council leaders, Lyman, and remind them that you keep adding people, but you gotta keep pushing for a grocery store, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of people to have in one area that doesn't have banks, you know, grocery stores, pharmacies, all that stuff. We need the commercial development to come too, so.
Did you say they don't even have parking for the 144 units?
They don't have a parking garage. It is surface parking. Surface parking.
So they do have parking.
They have parking. If anybody wants a copy of the application that they sent, I can get that. It's also public. You can just go look on the city's website and print the PDF yourself. There's a traffic study and an application. I can send it to you though. If you can't find it, let me know. I'll send your way so you can look at it. That's Lower Avenue development. So, any other questions on that? All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut us off on. I know it's an important conversation, but I just wanted to announce that development. We can get into the grocery thing later, which we've talked about a lot, but that's a separate thing from the Lower Avenue development. So, all right. Let's see. I think I put the North Main property on there twice. Okay. One big thing we gotta get to before we get out of here, and I know we haven't got to the high park yet, which is our main thing, but. All right, so the trash the poop program, I know y'all remember us talking about that a couple months ago. We agreed, all right, so what's going on here is our neighbor, Angel Speaks, spearheaded an effort to get a trash the poop station placed on Summerlee. We had that person who we still have not figured out who it was, throwing blue dog poop bags in people's yards and in trees and everything. That seems to have stopped as far as I can tell. But anyway, in response to all that, we got that station put in. My understanding, and when we talked about this last time, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but my understanding was that we were putting the station in on Summerlee, and we were going to agree to keep restocking it with the poop bags, the little plastic bags that you can pull out of there. What I was not made aware of, and I have not heard of until recently, is there's actually a trash receptacle on this station too. So if anybody's been on that side of the neighborhood, you've noticed it started overflowing, and thankfully Julie and Ellen have helped us to, and Debbie have helped us to, thank you, clean that up and get that taken care of. So this is the first I've heard about or realized that there was a trash receptacle. If I was wrong about that, didn't understand, y'all let me know, but I was not aware that was something that we were supposed to be working on. So I'm gonna contact the city about that. What I wanna know from y'all is, I think we have two options for it, because I think we could still continue just to replace the bags, that's easy enough. Do y'all want to, as a neighborhood association, maintain the trash receptacle too? And what that would be is maintaining a trash receptacle that's about this big, is that correct? That is supposed to take the poop bags, that's where people are, I guess, are supposed to put them after they trash, or they pick their dog poop up. That doesn't seem all that fun to me. I did not think that's what we were gonna be doing when we put the station in. No one ever told me that was part of the program, nor, by the way, I went and looked at the website twice this past couple weeks. It is not on their website anywhere about that being part of the program. I don't know where that came from. I've asked Angel about that. I've not got a response for her. So anyway, do we want to, what's that?
I got where it is.
You have
It's buried, but it's on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was not, it's not on their website, or at least it's not on their webpage.
It's not, it's hidden somewhere
And
else.
it was not, I mean, I'm the one who signed the papers along with Angel to agree to do this. It's not on there anywhere either, so anyway. I think there's two options here. My preferred option is we just take the trash receptacle off and don't do that, because that's not that fun. I don't think neighbors should have to do that. None of us agreed to do that. And I think that'd be the easiest thing. I was gonna make sure the city's okay with that. And if they're not, they might wanna take the whole thing back, but that's okay. I would not be in favor of doing that. We can though, and if we want to do that, we would need to get a little committee of neighbors together to say they wanna be the ones responsible for emptying that thing on a regular basis. And I don't know how often it'll need to be done. I think it's only been up there for about 3 weeks. It's already overflowing. So it needs to be emptied pretty regularly. So Ellen, you said you would.
I would be willing to do it 1 week a month if we had 3 other people to do it on a regular basis. And if you would like, my house is right there. Whoever's emptying it can come dump it into my trash can, my Herbie Kirby.
City has garbage cans that trash collector.
They will not pick it up. We've already.
Not from that, but
Oh.
can we have a trash?
We need a trash can.
Well, we'd have to ask the person whose house it's in front of, who I don't know who that is, so we
It's
don't.
on an easement and there's no house there.
If we
So
could have a real trash can.
So would it be in the street or on the sidewalk or?
Well, convenient for the trash collector.
The trash can is there, there's a city trash can at the empty house, because when you pay property taxes, you pay, so there's a green, there's a green.
I mean, city trash can that's got a round hole in the top that you.
Oh, no,
That's what we
no,
need.
we're not getting one of
No,
those.
we don't want one of
No.
those.
Why, they gonna pick it.
Because
But
the
they-
trash truck comes and we need one of those.
Yeah.
So the trash truck will come, pick it up when they get the rest of the trash, otherwise
The
they're.
kind of trash cans with the round hole in the top, they are supposed to pick those up.
Well, frankly, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Another reason I don't like this is because, and I personally, I walk my dogs down that way. I don't really want there to be a trash bag of poop just on the road. Lots of people use that area. It's very walkable. It's very nice. I don't even want that smell in the area, frankly. That's one reason I'm not really in favor of even having the little one there. Because if it's not completely closed, and I don't trust everybody to always keep it perfectly closed all the time, that's just gonna stink up the street. It gets water in it, flies. I really don't like the idea of it being there, but Julie?
I'm willing to take a week, I mean, like Ellen said, I'm willing to take a week. I've got key to the bag receptacle, and I guess since we don't know where the bags are, because surely more bags came with it than.
Angel says she has bags, so I'm gonna get those from her.
Okay.
But we're gonna have to buy more, and that's fine. That's what I thought we were gonna do.
$60 for 2,000.
Yeah, that's my thought. What we agreed to do as a neighborhood was to purchase the bags and keep putting them in there.
Okay.
So I'm okay with us doing that. That's great, and we've already
We need
agreed.
some more people to volunteer to help empty it, I'm willing.
We have one of those city trash cans at our corner, and they empty it, and I don't know why it's there. It's here a couple of years ago, at the corner of Johnson and Addington on the opposite side of me.
There's a city trash can?
It's one of the pebble ones.
It would be really
Square.
nice, I don't care what kind, but if there were a trash can right there, it would be much easier for the volunteers, if we have to dump
Right.
a little thing, we can dump it in there.
Well, let
If
me,
people have a bag, they can throw it in there, which will make the little thing not filthy.
all right, well, here's what I'm gonna do. Let me call Benjamin Wilt, the city, and ask him if we can do that, or if there's something else we can do, and what the situation is about that. In the meantime, can y'all take care of it for about a month until we can reconvene to decide? And we'll push that off until it'll be August, actually, when we get the next, we don't have a July meeting, but can y'all?
Julie, I put bags in it, but, I mean, they're not the bags that fit in the dispenser, but I had a bunch of.
We should have more bags from Angel soon. I should be able to find this from her soon.
Julie, let's coordinate before we leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll
We'll
make some
pick a
copies of
date
the.
too, Ellen. Ellen might not have a date that works. We'll do it.
Okay, well, I appreciate y'all taking that on. Thank y'all so much, because I did not realize this was a thing until I walked my dog down there today, and all of a sudden there's just poop bags on the street. I had no idea where that came from. I didn't, that's when I finally saw that there's a trash can there, or a little bin, but. So thank y'all for working on that. I'll try to get an update from the city and see what our options are. Any thoughts about that before we move on? Alright. Alright, I have two more things on the agenda, but I'm gonna say, let's push those to the next meeting. I apologize, I told y'all online that in our agenda that we would talk about Hyde Park tonight. We have run till, as usual, over the hour, so is it okay if we push that off till our August meeting to reconvene about what we do about Hyde Park? Okay, and as well, is Pat still here? Pat wants to talk about street painting, which I agree. I hope you all saw Clement Road has finally been painted after 3 years of us asking them to repaint that road. They have repainted lines on Clement Road, so we at least got there. Pat wants to talk about how we don't have street painting on a lot of other roads, and I agree. We need to look into that. So, all right. So last thing, is there anything for the good of the order or anything on open floor y'all want to bring up real quick before we head out?
A couple things. Whatever happened to Pink Drift Brewery?
I have tried to contact them multiple times, and they will not respond to my text, calls, or emails. So.
I mean, they built that up pretty big to us.
Yeah.
And I know they're making beer back there, but.
Yeah, it's an operating brewery. It's just not a retail establishment or anything. My guess is that they're just not going to do that at this point.
I don't think they're gonna do it at all, cause if you notice, they got a bunch of, extra tanks, like they finna take that, what they say was gonna make a restaurant.
Does anybody have any idea? I've tried contacting the folks I know that are doing the Middletons, Greg Middleton.
Yeah.
Is who I've been trying to contact. He will not respond to me anymore. Anybody have any other contacts? Anyone I can reach out to?
But I've heard from somebody that there was a problem with that building.
Okay.
I don't know what they meant by that, but I got the impression they're having a hard time getting over that hump, whatever it is. The only other question I was gonna ask is, what's gonna happen to the Lutheran Seminary?
Yes, I don't have the answers to that, so I didn't put it on the agenda. Lyman and myself spoke to the mayor. The city is very aware that that is going to be a big deal.
I think we better pay attention to that.
It is on our radar. I don't have any information at this time, but it is on our radar. We're watching as soon as we know something about when they're leaving and who may come in or what may come in to replace them or who's going to take over the property. I'll pass it on as soon as I hear.
I figure they're gonna make a private school out of that.
Sure. There's a lot of different uses for it. There's a lot of different buildings on that campus. My hope is that none of it's torn down. A lot of it's very nice. And I was talking to Seminary Ridge folks the other night. I went to their meeting. They're aware of that as well, of course. That's big on their radar, obviously. So, and if anybody hears everything, please pass along to me because I'm not on the list of distribution, I'm sure. So that is a big deal, but nothing, I don't know anything at this point. So. All right. Anything else for the good of the order at all before we adjourn? All right, is there a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed. Thank you all for coming, and we'll push those on the discussion.